By the time the world degraded me, it didn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter what people say about your sex anymore. None of that shit matters to the people who have been traumatized, abused, raped, abandoned, forgotten. And a lot of black women have, by some of the people closest to them, by their uncles, by their father's friends. How did I move forward with this? I was born into it. I don't know anything different. And
when you meet a woman who's gone through a lot in her life, you got to understand that it may cause her to act out and be a thought, or it may cause her to act out and be a woman who no longer likes men, or it may cause her to be, whatever myriad of things that those type of traumatic experiences can turn you into. But the reality is, the majority of women you meet are gonna have that in their background. I have never met a woman in all of my years, besides the virgins, who can tell me that they haven't had some type of traumatic experiences. And to be honest with you, mostly they're at the hands of, men in their family or people that were close to the family, people they trusted. And my point in saying this is that you have to take your time and understand who a woman is before you end up trying to be intimate with her. Because whatever she has down in her, if those things haven't been remedied or solved and she hasn't taken that time away to heal, then you're going to find out that you're caught up in a situation and you don't understand why your energy is changing. When someone has had their energy taken and they don't know how to rebuild their own energy, all they can do is drain yours.
My mother was the first person who called me a whore. And I had a lot of the world beating me down on a regular basis. And they still couldn't kill me. By the time the world degraded me, it didn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter what people say about your sex anymore. None of that shit matters to the people who have been traumatized, abused, abandoned, forgotten. And a lot of black women have, by some of the people closest to them, by their uncles, by their father's friends. How did I move forward with this? I was born into it. I don't know anything different. And I thank my mother for that, for the years that I've been gone, the years that you were looking for me, you couldn't find me. It's because I had to heal. In order for me to heal, I had to get away from everything and everybody.
Now, we all know Superhead. We've heard of her, Karrine Steffans. We know her history, we know her tell-all book. It was saying she admitted that she lied in the book, but we don't know if that came from pressure from the industry. But man, she was calling out some names. And if she was lying or whether she was telling the truth, the reason she did this tell-all book is to lash out at the world, lash out at the men who she was with intentionally for the things that the men that she was with unintentionally did to her. And this happens a lot, man. So that's why I tell you men all the time, you have to be willing to take your time with a woman. Don't go rushing into a situation, and don't listen to these guys telling you just chase as many women as you can and get laid as much as you can, man. Those guys are beta male simp manginas, man. No real man views life from that perspective. Now, if you're viewing life from that perspective, I'm not saying you can't be a man, you can't become a man, but what I am saying is if that's your perspective on life, you are not a man, because a man finally arrives at the point where he values himself too much to sell himself that thinly. And the majority of the times, if you're out here chasing women like that, it has less to do with you overvaluing women than it has to do with you undervaluing yourself. See, many men out here don't place proper value on themselves. And they end up getting caught up with a woman like this, who during that time, before she took this time away to heal, was sick, emotionally sick. And someone who's emotionally sick can only take on energy to put a Band-Aid on it until they can heal. The reality of the scenario is you as a man have to understand that you need to take yourself seriously. And I don't mean take yourself too seriously where nobody can't say nothing about you, or you feel like you the God's gift to the world or something. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying you got to take yourself seriously, meaning you don't play games about what you want and need out of life. You understand? You don't play games about what you need to have from the people in your life. And you don't play games about what you need to do in order to benefit your own life. You take those things absolutely seriously because those things are what your life is made of. See, we're not in a society where as a man, you can waste your whole life away and then at the end, somebody's going to say,
yeah, you waste your life, but here you go. I'm going to put you where you should have been if you had been grinding and focusing on yourself.
No, every moment you waste doing the wrong things or doing things that aren't beneficial to you, then you're going to end up in a situation where you can't properly assess the situation because you're too needy. You're too emotionally needy. You're too mentally needy. You're a man that needs someone to heal you because you haven't taken the time that you need to self-heal. Just like this woman is saying. And if you notice, she says, and I'm going to be honest with you, you can know as many women as you want to, but a black woman in her 40s or 50s like Karrine Steffans knows more women than you do. And for a woman to say that many women, and I say the majority, have these traumatic experiences, then it shows you that the problem in this society is that there's a whole bunch of healing needed. Now, we focus a lot on the women needing to be healed, but just gauging by the amount of consultations I have and the things that guys are dealing with and the things the guys are accepting and the things they can't even pull themselves away from, that you men need healing too. The problem is black men and women in America are sick, mentally sick, emotionally sick, especially spiritually sick. And we cannot begin to even worry about healing relationships and having these loving relationships with one another until we can have loving relationships with ourselves. And many of you hate yourselves. Many of you have to cover yourselves in all of these trinkets and treasures. The same way the women have to cover themselves with the wigs and weaves and all of the makeup, you men have to cover yourselves with the fine suits and the jewelry and the flashy expensive cars and all of these other things that you cover yourselves with. You cover yourselves in all of this ink. You do all of these things because you feel like you need to keep improving the outer surface. And eventually you're going to cover up and drown out the negative undercurrents enough. But the problem is you're not. You have to understand that healing is an internal thing. So rather than put all these things on your surface to cover your internal wounds, you got to dig deep within to yourself. You got to dig down deep and understand that you have some issues that have been festering for a long time. And the best thing you can do for the world, for yourself, for your boy or your girl, is to heal. Take the time away from the things that you enjoy, from the things that you've been doing in order to suffice as a replacement for true healing. Eliminate those things and force yourself to truly heal. Because if you don't, you'll wake up one day and look in the rearview mirror and you'll have a whole bunch of regrets with nothing to show for it. Salute to Karrine Steffans for doing what she had to do to heal herself, to find that space that she needed to be in order to heal. And hopefully, the rest of you will do the same thing, because I have. Y'all comment down below and let me know what you think about this topic, man. I look forward to hearing what you men have to say. I'm out.